Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano and the other members of the Cabinet, distinguished members of the Senate and of the House of Representatives, AFA Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Ray Leonardo Guerrero and the Major Service Commanders, mga kasama ko sa gobyerno, mga kababayan ko. Good evening. I am glad to be back from Japan. I am pleased to report that my official visit to Tokyo was most productive and engaging. I met my good friend, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and discussed with him concrete time-bound and specific ways to further intensifying bilateral cooperation. On top of our agenda is vital support for the centerpiece projects under the Philippines Build program. This covers huge impact social infrastructure projects that our country needs to sustain economic growth and improve the quality of life of our people. Many more projects will be rolled off under Japan's trillion yen or close to $9 billion pledge of assistance. Prime Minister Abe committed to give flesh to Japan's Special Assistance Program. I am committed to work closely with him to ensure that projects proceed soonest, and it will be a done. The Philippines and Japan will intensify defense and security cooperation to combat terrorism, violent extremism, and transnational crimes. We will strive to make our waters free and open to our peoples so that they can enjoy our rich natural maritime resources. I thank Japan for reaffirming its commitment to the Philippines' pursuit of a just and lasting peace in Mindanao. They will be our partner once again in rebuilding Marawi as the center of moderation and tolerance. On economic cooperation, we encourage Japan to explore more opportunities to invest in the Philippines, including in steel manufacturing, agribusiness, and IT and creative services. I met with industry leaders in Tokyo who signed business agreements valued at $6 billion. This is more than 3 times the amount of sealed businesses agreements during my first visit to Japan in 2016. I look forward to welcoming Prime Minister Abe and other members of the Philippines ASEAN Summit and related summits on the sides. I am humbled by the singular honor of meeting His Majesty Emperor Akihito in Tokyo. I conveyed to His Majesty our nation's and people's deep appreciation, gratitude for Japan's continuing friendship and support for the Philippines' peace and development goals. We want our relations with Japan to grow even more. Japan is our friend closer than a brother. Japan treats us as a sovereign equal. The Philippines will work with Japan in building something special for our nations and peoples. We are building a golden age for our strategic partnership. Thank you, and I can take some.
Edith Regalado of Philippine Star.
Welcome home, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
First question is, you just mentioned that about your meeting with the Emperor. Could we further? I would like to know what else the Emperor told you when you met with him.
Oh no, the Emperor limits himself to social functions. We do not talk about policy of governments and even in matters of governmental concern on both sides. He is just limiting himself to the imperial duties and rule the nation as a sovereign head. maybe hanggang doon lang siya. Purely socials ang pinag-uusapan namin doon. You know what? I have been to many places and palaces of great leaders and people. This is the first time na nakita ko pinakasimpleng palasyo. It's trees surround the palace, but it is just a small place. And even his yung sala niya, the receiving room, wala kang makitang picture. It's really a bland thing actually. And he lives very simply. The king is very spoken. Lalo na yun si Her Majesty
The
Michiko.
Empress.
Talagang extra yung ano nila, yung deportment really parang ano talaga, befitting the title of Majesty. So yun lang ang pinag-usapan namin. Hindi naman siya nagtanong sa iyo. So hindi na rin ako
Hindi,
nagsalita.
sir. Di pa kami kilala, sir.
Ayan, ang problema dyan. So the next question.
The next question is this, sir. Come next week or the week after next, you're going to relinquish, to turn over the chairmanship of the Asian chairmanship. My question is, after 1 year being chairman, what do you think were the strengths or the weaknesses, or what do you think are the areas that ASEAN has still to improve?
Well, everybody's dream, young leaders, is really to come up with a cohesive partnership with all. And as I have said earlier, if the European Unions can do it, why can't we? And in the coming year, we will be discussing more along these issues along these lines to make it more relevant to the times, to be counted. Hindi naman tayo binibilang kasi European, then you have the Western Front, Britain, Germany, Merkel, and all. But little if at all is being listened to on our front. Maybe this time or in the succeeding years, in the fullness of God's time, since the world is now veering to the Easternization of the world. It's coming, it's just around the corner. And wag lang sana magkagulo. Wag lang mo it's called miscalculation kasi. Pag wala lang nangyari ganon, we are on our way to more faster development. Maybe maabutan pa sa generation natin.
Sir,
But yung infrastructure, they want it finished also immediately. Just like the other countries who promised us this, I would say it's either grant, it's a loan, or whatever. But what is important is what moves this nation. We can always ask for a longer period of repayment, and hopefully this is what is really happening. Payable in 25 to 30 years. It's almost a lifetime. I'm sure the next generation can do.
Sir, may last question lang po ako. Sir, I understand you brought with you to Tokyo at least 17 battalion commanders who came from Marawi. The question lang po is, when are you going to take the female soldiers to Hong Kong po, as you have promised?
Nandoon na sila. Ano ka man? Nauna pa sa amin.
Ano, yung mga babae?
Oo.
Sabay kayo?
Nakasawa na nga ang iba pagbalik eh.
So nandoon na sila, the first batch?
You know, this is what really happened.
Okay.
I was not thinking about something else, somebody, but sabihin ko na lang, and it should really be made public. It was Cebu Pacific who answered for. Nung nalaman niya na sabi ko, Sabi niya, sige, iyo na lang ang baon pati hotel. And almost, nandoon na yung mga babae galing na doon.
Okay. So the 17, kasabay mo ngayon din?
Hindi, yung kasabay ko really the top commanders ng I just invited them for a respite.
Yes.
Hindi naman na kailangan punta ng Hong Kong kasama yung mga babae. Naloko na. Wala man silang magawain doon. For ladies lang yun, a chance to visit Hong Kong for those who have not been there. But itong sila, I just brought them to unwind. At least may sila, panahon mag-sightseeing.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome always.
As always.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Pati yan siya sa likod.
Ruth
On deck.
Dumandan of Radyo Pilipinas.
Hi, Mayor. Good evening. Sorry to ask this question, President, because Leila de Lima, in her statement, instead of going after imagined and fictitious drug lords, why not investigate daw Paulo and Attorney Mans Carpio?
Hindi ko makakuha lahat yan. I know half of but what is really the diretso ko na lang.
Yes, sir. Why not investigate Paulo and Attorney Mans Carpio? Na sila naman daw yung mga drug lords.
Who would believe me if I investigate my son and my son-in-law? Ikaw, can you investigate your mother or father? I leave it to the independent agencies, just the human rights, which are making all the noise, and you have the NBI. I said, magtanong ka ng member dito, I do not talk privately with my secretaries. I do not even call them, not once. And I leave everybody to decide what is right for this country. If they are really guilty, then so be it. Diba sinabi ko na sa inyo nung mayor ako, anong order ko sa police? Barilin ninyo kasi anak ko. At that statement remains. Barilin mo. Pag nagamit ng droga o nakahawak ng droga, barilin mo. Extra judicial killing if you want. And I can understand. Wala akong I posta ko when I said I cast my future in my presidency. Hindi ako magpakorne. Kita mo mga cabinet members, kaibigan ko lahat. Sinipa ko. The last was the Undersecretary of Budget. He was around when I was campaigning. But the first one, the first cabinet was also the head of my campaign. Wala tayong magawa. So, kung makulong sila, di ipakulong mo. Yung ganyan lang ang buhay. Walang pakurnihan. Do not be so anxious or say sorry for asking the question. You are all entitled to ask your question. You must have your dog day. So, tanong kayo. Before my mayorship, sinabi ko na sa inyo yan. And you know that ang pamilya ng in-laws ni Paulo, ang negosyo yung importation ng mga from Singapore. At the age of 18, he eloped with a woman 24 years old. So he had to join the family of the lady and to help the business. Kaya he is a regular feature doon yan. Noon yan. That started, kayong mga taga Davao, alam ninyo yan. It is benefit of the rest of the nation. The reason why she is there because diyan siya hindi mo natin makatapos pag-aral eh. So natuto siyang magnegosyo. At 18 years old, he had to work for the family of his wife. Does that...
Yes, Mayor.
Oo.
Thank you po.
Next time, do not be apologetic about it.
Baka init yung ulo, Mayor.
Wala, malamig ang biyahe.
Yes.
Malamig ang ulong mahaba. Malamig ang Japan.
Okay, second question, Mayor. Mayor Inday is created a local peace body whose task is to hold a localized peace talks with the CPP and
Look,
PA.
I am addressing myself to all the soldiers of the New People's Army. Mag-surrender na lang kayo ngayon at ibaba ninyo inyong barel o isurrender ninyo. At sabi ko, may trabaho kayo naghihintay at I am building all throughout the country almost 5,000 sa National Housing Authority. Kayo ang ngayong sa military sa Bulacan at inagaw ng mga tao, sabi ko na lang sa the armed forces and the police, pagpasidyahan na lang ninyo ako. Hindi naman natin pwedeng awayin yung mga mahirap. Kung may bahay yan, hindi na mangagaw yan. And so, since we are in the service of the Republic, I hope you can sacrifice a little bit. Just wait, but I will build you as except for yung wounded sa, lalo na yung permanently, they will have their houses built at once. And I am releasing 500 million rather, pesos for yung medisina nila. Ayaw ko magdaan na maraming dokumento. Ayaw ko yung bidding. Bigay ko na lang yan dyan sa, that lowest bid is bullshit. That what was us be pulling our country down ever since. Every generation or government, administration has had its share of corruption in their budget. Always yan. Hanggang ngayon dito. Kaya ako, pinatalsi ko nung sa budget. He was screwing government, Mabutit na lang, hindi ko sa hinulog noon sa totoo lang. Gusto kong tadyakan dyan sa agdanan. Yun ang makainit ng ulo ko.
So are you supporting, Mayor, the localized peace talks?
Yes. Kaya mag-surrender kayo lahat. Wala naman talagang mangyari. 50 years in the making, then you are another 50 years. We can talk continuously with the left. I am not about ready to give up everything and anything in the altar of peace for our country. Wala akong ano dyan. I do not fight them with money or I'm just saying na kung mag-surrender kayo, ayaw na ninyo gusto ng patayan or pumatay ng kapwa mo Pilipino, mag-surrender ka na, bigyan kita ng bahay, automatic, at bigyan kita ng trabaho. Pero magtrabaho kayo. This is not an honorarium thing. You have to work for it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Total, magsundalo, trabaho ka man rin, patay ka pa.
Arnel Cortez of Super Radyo Davao.
Mayong gabi, Mayor.
Ayong gabi.
Sinabi po ni PM Abe na tutulong ang Japan sa pagpapatupad ng medium at long-term action plans sa illegal drug countermeasure. Tatanong ko lang po, how exactly will they execute it? And paano po ito mararamdaman ng mga Pilipino? Would it be more killing?
I am trying to gauge the situation. PD has a very limited human resource. The warm bodies there. Kung totoo yung sinasabi nila na it can improve the overall picture ng law and order kung wala ang police, tingnan natin. If it's worsen, tingnan natin. Then, sabihin ko, mag-petition muna tayo doon sa human rights kung anong magagawa nila. If there is an increase of supply, there is an increase of addicts, then the first thing that we will hear, mga human rights, ano ho ang matutulong nito sa sitwasyon? Kung maganda na ang labas ng the events turn out to be good, then bigyan ko sila medalya. Marami ako dyan noong mayor pa ako na hindi ko nagamit. Ipatunaw ko lang yung uli, tapos change the emblem and the logo rather, and I'll award them with medals. Tignan natin. So as of now, I have not talked with the PDEA, but I will maybe ask a separate meeting with him. Kay Aaron, General Aaron Kino. He used to be a Davao boy. He earned his spurs here in Davao.
Okay, next question po, Mayor. Nasa 18 Japanese companies ang nagbigay ng business letter of intent para sa investment dito sa bansa. Kung meron man, ilan po ba ang direktang mararamdaman at posibleng pakinabangan ng taga
They are
Mindanao?
in hurry as we are. They want to finish during my term. Sabi niya, yun na lang ang maibigay namin kung sakali. But if it's delayed, you know how the imponderables of this planet evolve, then wag lang sana tayo mabutan ng gulo. Because kung maggulo ang Korean Peninsula, everything has to be put back to the pigeonhole.
Daghang salamat, Mayor.
Asuka Ito of the Daily Manila Shimbun.
Mayong gabi po, sir. Ako po si Asuka Ito from Daily Manila Shimbun, Japanese newspaper po.
Saan ka, ma'am?
Saan ka, Daily Manila Shimbun, it's Japanese newspaper.
Akala ko
based in
taga-Bulacan nga.
Taga Tokyo.
Your place is good, very nice.
Thank you so much, sir. I have two questions. First, I would like to ask you, what did you feel when the Majesty, the Emperor, recalled the precious victim of Filipino victim of World War II? What did you feel at that time?
Did we talk about the victims? No. What are you talking about?
I'm talking
the
about
other issues.
when you talk to the Majesty, the Emperor. The first word the Emperor says that there's so many Filipino victims during the World War II. So at that time, what did you feel? And after that, what did you talk with Sir Majesty?
No, we restored our normal relations with Japan about in 1950, long time, 58, about almost a little over 1 year. All the issues there connected with the war are water under the bridge.
Okay.
It's not being even discussed in polite company.
Okay, sir. Next question is that is there any possibility that the Japanese defense forces join the Marawi rehabilitation in the fields?
No, I do not think that they're sending soldiers, the Japan Defense Forces. No, it's the military arm of your government, and I do not think that your constitution would allow that thing to happen.
How about
We are very satisfied with the Japanese experts and technicians. They are all good.
is there any planning joint training or joint drill between Philippines and Japan?
Maybe Coast Guard. The Coast Guard here is purely civilian. It belongs to the Department of Transportation. And Coast Guard is the component of enforcing the laws regarding the laws that is applicable in the territorial waters of Japan. Coast Guard lang po.
Coast Guard. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po, sir.
Salamat.
David Santos of CNN Philippines.
Kala ko taga Bulacan ang...
Mayang gabi, Mayor. Mayor, before you left the other day, no, you emphasized the need. I mean, sa mga agenda na pag-uusapan niyo po was your concerns. I mean, the neighboring countries' concern about North Korea. Can you discuss?
Indeed.
Can you discuss?
Yes.
Ano yung kamusta yung naging discussion nyo with the Prime Minister? Did you get to raise to him your proposal that somebody needs to reach out to the North Korean leader?
No, we just talked about the perils of a war, and all others were just incidentals. The main issue really is I said, miscalculation. Any of the countries involved, it's always a miscalculation, and how it would wreak havoc, not only in the neighboring countries, particularly China, Korea, and the neighboring peripheral countries around that country. We also were talking about what would be the wages of war, and how will it affect humanity. When you talk of nuclear bombs and nuclear weapons, there's no room for argument there. But one thing is sure, destruction. So, ganun lang ang ano namin.
Yung dialogue, yes, sir. Your proposal was more on trying to reach out to the North Korean leader, holding dialogues. Was the Prime Minister amenable to that?
Everybody, I said, the one thing maybe which is sorely lacking now is the communications. And so far as I'm concerned, I think it's only China who has that kind of competence to talk about these things, about the costs of a nuclear blast.
My second question po, Mayor, a spokesman of the Japanese government said that you and Prime Minister Abe discussed the issues on the maritime security and freedom of navigation, including the South China Sea.
Correct. That has to be one of the countries that is really interested in the freedom of navigation, especially coming in from the Indian Ocean. You go that narrow strait there, and there's a lot of buildings there by China, and also some other countries are claiming some islands, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia. It could be really a messy thing, not only in the Philippines, pati sila, because each and every country has a economic zone, and it is overlapping. Not only China claiming the majority of the area, but even dito sa atin, sa Malaysia and Indonesia. But always we can resolve it by just talking.
Anong concerns po ni Prime Minister, sir, considering that vis-a-vis with you've been pushing for warmer relations with China? Ano po yung namang concerns po na nire-raise ni Prime
In the
Minister?
meantime, that we are not really prepared just about anything except to talk. Let us just talk. I cannot imagine myself getting involved in a violent and almost a suicide action. You can read all the legal treaties there, claiming this and claiming that. But the problem, I said, is I do not want to criticize the big powers now, because it was really of their own making. There has been sufficient time. We were shown all of and there was activity there, but nobody really, once in a while raised the howl. Now China is building, but her promises are peaceful. So in the meantime, I said, since there is no space to talk about a violent option, let us just continue. But China has put it on record that near the Pag-asa, where we also have our base there, the Scarborough Islands, China has committed to us not to build anything there. And I hope that they would honor that commitment to us. I hope and I pray. I do not want to create something here which is not good for us, for all of us.
So you're holding on to that.
Yes. Because once I commit to you as a president of a sovereign state, what comes out of my mouth is what it is. And it's always a commitment with honor. Anything less than that, you lose the respect of. They probably would not have the time to, or anybody inviting us for a talk and discuss giving aid and assistance to the country.
Quickly lang, Mayor, if they do not hindi nila tutuparin yung kanilang gaging commitment, what will happen?
Then I will send you to go there and demand compliance.
But seriously, Mayor.
There's no other way around except to give it to people who are speculating. I am not speculating. I am using the gray matter between my ears. And I said, I have a plan. And someday, if I make it public, I hope you'll join me. But if your impatience suggests otherwise, then I can always take you in government and maybe clothe you with an envoy status and go there and argue. And ask him, what will you do to the Philippines if you reverse your decision to honor? It's not for me to say. It's them for that question should be answered by them. Not by me. Klaro na ako dito. Wala naman akong inagaw. Basta ito akin. Then the Scarborough Show. That was about it. That was the fundamental issue at that time. Now that there's construction everywhere, well, I said for lack of space in time and whatever, I said, China is also helping us. So it's not because we are not ready to lose it, but because I said the reality is on the ground is far different. But there will be a time. And I assure you that I said during my term, na magtanong ako what is really in store for us all. I hope we will reach that stage. And China is a good listener. Okay?
Akan salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the press. Thank you so much.
Oh, ano? Bakit? Meron ba dagdag? Sige, tanong kayo. Anybody wants to... Oh, saan galing to?
Vina Araneta.
Hi, sir.
ABS, CBN.
Sabi ko nga. Good morning. Good evening, Mr. President. Mr. President, last October 23, Mayor Sara Duterte launched Tapang at Malasakit Alliance to unite the Filipinos. Many are saying na pantapat daw po yun sa tindig Pilipinas, and many are speculating na nagpaparamdam na siya for 2019 elections. But of course, sabi niya she will run for Congress. But sa mga appearances niya lately, like in Malita, Davao Occidental, ang introduction sa kanya is the next president.
Wala ka pala niyan. Storya wala niya. No, and is not interested. You know, I'm telling you the truth. She did not really want to be mayor. And I have a letter of resignation. We were inducted into office June 30. Last year, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Alam mo, July 1, dumating na sa table ko that she was resigning from the mayorship because of blah, 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 blah. And I had to fly back. And it was a very agonizing moment for me. And ayaw talaga eh. Ang sabi ko, well, alam mo, if we are elected, it's really the voice of the people asking us to that. Total election naman to. And if you are the winner with the huge majority, then you can say that the voice of the people is the voice of God. So, sabi ko, you have to honor it because I did not start it. It was my father who became governor, and later on, in between the years, they were foisting my candidacy. At one election, local, pinapatanong ako ni Don Antonio Florendo if I can run for the locals. My mother gave me a ticket and said, go to Manila and get lost there. Do not ever enter politics. Then, hindi ko naman talaga. Dumating ang EDSA. Then pinilit nila akong mag-resign as prosecutor. Sinabi ko, okay. Buhay pa naman yan sila hanggang ngayon. Sinabi ko, okay, pero pagkatapos nitong 1 year, kung maaari lang, gusto ko lang mag-judge. Kasi malaki ang sweldo, kunti makapag-aral ang mga anak ko sa Manila kasi gusto nila doon mag-aral. And the opportunity was there. You know why? They come on. Dahil gusto ko yung mga anak ko makapag-aral ng gusto nila magandang edukasyon. Ito si Paulo yung said, he charted his own course. Ito namang bunso, hindi ko naman artista pala ang gusto. Babae. Let us respect her choice. Ako naman, I forgot to, itong kay Inday na local initiative.
Yes.
I am encouraging her. And to the new People's Army, do not take it so badly. Wala naman pilitan to. Yung gusto lang magpahinga. If you're tired killing another human being, you're always invited to go back mainstream. Balik kayo dito at alagaan ko kayo. And eventually, just to prepare you for the entry into the main line of society. Mainstream rather.
Reaction niyo lang po, Mr. President, dun sa Tapang at Malasakit Alliance.
Sino? Ang tinatanong niyan, si Inday ako.
Kayo po, yung sa inorganize niya na alliance. Asking also the opposition to
she said it very clear that she was hurt by yung alam mo na, pati yung kapatid niya. Halaan mo niya, hindi totoo. Matagal maumiyaw dito. Kailan pa niya ako nakita? And I said, except for Trillanes, anybody can come here and I will authorize you to take a peep into my... Pero huwag mo akong gawing uto-uto. Ito talaga ako, mayroon na ako nandiyan, mabait niya gamitin. I executed that waiver before the elections to meet the challenge of, sabi maraming pera. Nagbigay na ako, sabi, expiry. Wala expiry yan. At ibigay ko sa iyo yung bukas. At tawagan ni, he was my lawyer, Attorney Panelo. Tawagan niya. You allow ABS-CBN to take a peep. Kano? Kaya kayo man yung nag-ano. Pero wala na ako sa, ayaw ko na rin I promised one single lady sa inyo. Empleyado lang rin. She was very almost condescending attitude. Sabi ko, ano pa naman siya sa ABS, sabi ko, no. You can tell your boss that after we shake hands tonight, sabihin mo sa kanya, hindi na ako magsalita. Except factual. Kasi kayo yung ng talagang corruption. Bigyan mo, I'll give you the authority. There's the waiver. Walang expiry date yan. Kaya ginilagay ko yan, walang expiry. So, kanya use that in my whole term as presidency.
Thank you po.
Manuel Cayon of Business World.
May pahabol.
Business Mirror. Sir, you said something
Ayaw ko sa iyo, yellow ka. Hanap tayo ng iba dyan.
Sir, you said something like making Marawi the center of moderation and tolerance.
Tolerance.
And may you elaborate on that and why
Well,
emphasis
because
on that?
there was always a working church there. Yung pare who was taken hostage and the other church workers. Well, of course, they destroyed the images of that's something else to be talked about at some other time. But there were Christians there. Wala naman tayo, except that I said, there's one thing that I would like to abolish in this country. I'm not talking of any particular place. Itong slavery. I will go after you. Totohanan niya. Pag may nagsumbong dito sa akin na dinala yung anak niya, lalo na yung they grow up as slaves, thinking that they are really slaves. I do not care whether it's a Moro or a Christian. I want that practice stopped because it's inhuman. And you do not consign the life of a certain person to slavery for all time. Kapareho ko yan sa droga. Huwag mong gawin yan. I will place you in the level of drugs, kidnapping people and making slaves out of them. You better watch out. Pag malaman ko, talagang pupuntahan kita. I myself, as president, will go to you and decide your...
Sir, with money in hand for the rehabilitation, what would we expect in the next, say, the next 6 months? What would be Marawi like in the next 1 year? And how do we move the population?
Well, there's no need because everything has a certain particular shelter now. The rich are somewhere else, busy building their own houses somewhere. Ang concern ko yung mahirap. And ang setup is ganito. The Defense Department is the overall entity. It should be Defense Secretary Lorenzana. Marami naman yan siyang mga undersecretaries that can work out something for Marawi. Then it goes to one single person. There were many proposals in the cabinet which I overruled because I hate yung committee. Mauubos lang ang pera dyan. So from the table of the Defense Secretary, it goes to one person, CEO, and that is General Ed Del Rosario. And si Del Rosario, ang tawagin niya, if he needs something from DPWH, I am all of them, the secretaries are under orders to report to General Del Rosario in matters about Marami, including the financing, including the some separate entity will account. I am not saying that there was a disaster, another disaster that happened in Leyte, and that was the loss of everything, pati pera, pati tao, sinik na. So I can assign being the undersecretary or sinong gusto, but it will be under the supervision of one man. So that pagka pumalpak, si Del Rosario yan. Pag hindi ayon sa policy ng gobyerno, so Secretary Lorenzana will answer for it. I only have one straight line. Ang mga assistant, DPWH, call the undersecretary. No need for a committee, just tell him. Tell your secretary that is what is needed there. Agriculture, tawagan mo undersecretary ni Pino. Sabihin ni Ed, ito kailangan ko dito, another project, for what? Mayroon namang mga bahay. And, I have some announcements to give Monday after the cabinet meeting. I will just ask them to give me the consensus of what should be done. Pero we will jumpstart the project, and it is there already. And I said we will be discussing it, making it the first issue in the agenda.
One particular item that is problematic daw sa housing is the place is a military reservation, and how would we go about it?
Well, it is a huge tract of land. Ang military naman is ready. Just give them a little bit of space where they can conduct everything they should know about soldiering. Palagay ko noon, they are not ready to claim so many areas there. And Marawi proper, we have to concede it to the Moro. So the Moro will have to, clean up the place and they can have it. But just about in front of Marawi, I will create a new camp. Maybe one regiment or one division doon.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
President.
within the vicinity of the greater Marawi area.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes our press conference for
Ay,
today.
salamat. Kala ko hindi na mahinto.
Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Para sa pagbabago, sawa na ang bayan ko sa magnanakaw na tao. Madilim na kahapon,